The grace of God is sufficient for us, church. My name is Thato Batleng. The lady standing beside me is my beautiful wife, Thato Batleng, and my son, Thato Batleng. We are here to glorify God about His goodness that has been bestowed upon our lives. We've got few testimonies to glorify God about. But before we continue with our testimonies, I would like to take you back about the background of my life. I've got two siblings. We are three, and we have been raised by a single parent. I was born in a less privileged family. We've been living under severe poverty. My mother was struggling to make ends meet at home, to provide for us the basic needs and all that we needed at school. So continuing with our lives, the year 2011, we came here at the Gospel of God's Grace Ministries, where we will now be privileged to be part of the outreach. We received food hampers and financial assistance from the church that aided us with the basic needs at home. This relieved my parents with raising us, because now the church gave us a hand, and even us at home, this gave me encouragement to work hard at school. And by the grace of God, I managed to pass my Form 3. I proceeded to the senior secondary school. Whilst I was at the senior secondary school, I was still privileged to receive food packages and financial assistance from the church, since it was a boarding school. And this gave me a lot of courage that with the help that I'm receiving from the church and the men of God, I should work hard at school and to change the entire shape of my family. So I purposed it into my heart that I should work hard at school. So I was part of the PPS initiative, which I took the messages of the men of God to heart, and I sacrificed a lot of the temporary benefits that were there as youth, and I worked hard at school. I passed my Form 5 by the grace of God with 42 points. By the grace of God, this then gave me the opportunity to pass to tertiary level. And I was the first in my family to proceed to tertiary level with those points that I had accumulated. Whilst I thought things would be easier for me to easily enroll into into the tertiary level, the schools that I had appointed the courses from, they simply rejected me without any valid reasons. There was no written feedback as to why am I not admitted. So in my follow-up, I followed up with those schools, three institutions that I had applied for. And surprisingly, I was told that one of the institutions just told me that they didn't find my application. And the others, they couldn't understand why am I not enrolled. So I came back to church, and I alluded my story to one of the evangelists here. And I was prayed for and assisted with the living assets. On that particular date, that is when I recalled of one institution that had not yet closed for applications. Then I was prayed for and applied for that for a particular course, which is Bachelor of Science in Quantity Surveying. I received financial assistance once more again for applications and for transport fees. On that particular date, I also got my admission on that particular school, and I also got my sponsorship letters after the prayer I received from the church. I have since shared my testimony to that effect. By the grace of God, I proceeded very well in my tertiary level, and I've managed to graduate as a Bachelor of Science Quantity Surveyor. After finishing my course, by the grace of God once more, I never struggled to get a job. I enrolled for internship in one of the local companies here. And after almost 2 months, they confirmed my employment and placed me in Rubble A power station, ko Phala. After I got a job, now things became a little bit easier at home because I was able to help at home. I was able to provide, I'm a breadwinner at home. I'm the only one who is working. I'm assisting not only my family, but even those who are our relatives. The only challenge that I had now was that I was working far from the church, and it was quite difficult for me to get time to come this side. So my prayer was always that if God may bless me and let me get a job this side, which I will be able to fellowship well normally like I used to do. So one of the good days I visited this side and I attended the Sunday service. And on that particular date, I received a touch from the man of God. Thereafter, I received an offer from a different company and I got a job. But it was also far because it was at Orapa, at Letlhakanela Orapa. But along the line, I must say this, I became comfortable and I slept on my way. I sinned against God, and by then I impregnated my girlfriend, which is my wife, here today. I came running back to God, and I alluded the story to the man of God. By the grace of God, the man of God rebuked me. Remember, people of God, God always rebukes those whom He loves. The man of God rebuked me. I was also embarrassed. I had embarrassed my family. I had embarrassed all those who were looking up to me. And I also admitted that indeed I had sinned against God. I did not allow that situation also, because the man of God on that particular date, after rebuking me, by the grace of God, by the mercy of God, He still gave me a direction concerning my life. He prophesied me and told me that what I need to do is to hold more unto God than I used to. That message, I took it to heart, and I said to myself that, yes, I have sinned to God. I have sinned to God. And the only one who can forgive me and help me through this is only God. So I hold it unto God the more, and I continued fellowshipping the site. Down the line, that was the beginning of 2019, January. I received yet another offer from a company, which I took. This time around, it was this side in Gaborone. After I came this side, now I frequented the church. By the grace of God, I became a temple builder. With that, I've also been able to help those who were in need. I've helped few families. I've been helping the old with food hampers. This as returning back to the community from what I have received from God. Things also changed. I was able to finish all the projects that I had, and I've purposed it into my heart that I need to make things right with my life and with God. And I had this desire to get married. But because, as I alluded, that I was the only breadwinner at home, I had those limitations because I also wanted to build for my mother. I also wanted to improve my academics, my career profession. I had also a son which I had to provide for. I enrolled in this initiative of temple building, and by the grace of God, during lockdowns, as we are all aware that we are in COVID-19 pandemic, I got the opportunity to always come this side as temple builders, and I received a prayer from the man of God. And because of that, I received a salary increment at work. This was during COVID-19. I received a full salary, even though we were not going to work. I received all my benefits and salaries at work. This gave me the chance now to be able to save and finish my building projects. Within that particular time, the man of God introduced an initiative of, in short, we attended one of the services where the man of God said he is coming with a message of which will bring a solution into our lives. That is the message of throwing a staff. By the grace of God, we participated on that initiative, and I threw our staff. After throwing our staff, I received a financial breakthrough. I completed all the houses that I was building. I was able to buy myself the kettles, and I also bought myself the goats. I was also able to buy myself a car. So this desire to get married now was now boosted because by the grace of God, now I had received a financial breakthrough. I received this blessed cologne that I used, and I had called my uncle that I want to get married. People of God, today I am here to glorify God and tell you that we had a happily marriage and wedding celebration. I have managed to get married. Yes, people of God, during God's time, everything becomes beautiful. My other testimony is about healing for my son. During lockdown, around April 2020, my son was diagnosed with inguinal hernia. That is, when the medical description, that is, if I may give a brief background of this condition. At a point when a baby is born in her mother's womb, there's a time that if he's a boy, the testicles has to be dropped down where they should be. So on that path has to close with time. So with my son, the right path of the testicle did not close. So from time to time, after he eats or after eating, it means now the food will drop down on that path and he will bulge on the lower abdomen. So that is the condition that my son was diagnosed with. We went to several times we sought medical help. We went to private clinics, we went to government clinics, but to no avail. He only received painkillers and pain stabilizers, but the situation always persisted. He couldn't go to school. He couldn't do anything whilst he was on that condition. He will simply fold and he won't be able to stand up or to sleep. From time to time he has to be bending over to avoid the pain. So that is the condition that we had. I reached a point now I called here in church, and I was privileged to be answered by one of the evangelists. By that particular time, the situation had become worse, because normally when we visit the clinics, they will massage him and he will throw or he will vomit. But after he vomits, now it means the intestine will now go back into position, and they will release us to go back home. So now the situation became worse, that even when they massaged him at the clinic, it continued to bug, and he was on serious pain. On that particular date, we were referred for surgery. We went to Marina for surgery. When we got there, because of COVID-19 again, we were returned back home, and he was appointed to come on the 27th of November 2020, and by then it was July. So my son continued in agony like that. I also called the church, and I received a prayer through a telephone, and we also received the living facets from the church, the living water. After receiving the living water, my son now got a date that he was booked for operation. The following date, after we took him to the hospital where he got a referral, my son got attacked again, and I told to myself that this is now hindering an issue and to my family because he was severely in pain. So I took him to Bokamoso, a private hospital, with the hope that my medical aid will be able to cover him. Unfortunate enough, again, on that particular date, my medical aid couldn't cover him. The doctor who was assisting us on that particular date, he referred us to accident and emergency on that particular date. And he told the other doctors that we shouldn't take him back home as a Irua surgery. On that particular date, it was locked down on that day. So I took my son to Marina for surgery, and by the grace of God, I continued to administer the living water unto him and us as we prayed for him. We slept there at the hospital, and my son was booked for theater the following morning at 8 o'clock. My son had a very successful surgery, which he had never complained of any pains thereafter. The doctors had prescribed that after he got the surgery, he shouldn't do any physical, he shouldn't play a lot, he shouldn't eat too much. But my son was admitted only for 2 days, and he got a successful surgery. So if you may allow me to... this is my degree certificate, Bachelor of Science in Quantity Surveying, upper second class. This is the certificate of Project Management Essentials. This is my confirmation of employment where I'm working. By the grace of God, where I'm working, it is only that I don't have my other documents here. I am the head of department, and we've got 2 departments. I'm the head of department. By the grace of God, we had only 1 room at home. Like I said, that we are living in poverty. So with time, the church helped us with shelter, and they built us a 2-roomed house, a 2-bed house. So during lockdown, this same house, by the grace of God, after I received my blessings, I managed to extend it and also build this house. I did all the interiors, the tiling, all the interiors on it. These are the kettles that I've bought. Some of them I've used during my marriage celebration. These are the goals. This is the time I bought. I started with 2. By now I have 6. I've used some again during my marriage celebration. This is the car that God blessed me with. It is a BMW 323i. This is during our marriage celebration this January on the 15th. This is the medical reports. Unfortunate enough, we don't have the ones that we had from Marina and Bokamos. But this is the record of the medical condition that my boy had been having. This is inguinal hernia. This is last year, August. This is when he was referred now for accident in emergency, referred for surgery. This is when he was at Marina, waiting for surgery. Because we had pictures of him showing the bulging on his lower abdomen. But by the grace of God, here he's healed. He can now go back to school.
Good morning, church. My name's Thato Batleng, and the man beside me is my lovely husband, by the grace of God. I started coming to the Gospel of God's Grace Ministry the year 2013. I've been coming to fellowship here since then. In my family, we are 4. I have 2 elder sisters. I'm the 3rd, and I have a younger brother. So I'm the first one to get married by the grace of God. And we thank God for that, because we believe and we know that the anti-marriage has been rebuked. I can encourage church that they should always hold on to God. Never at any time let go of God, because God is the way, the truth, and life.
People of God, a failure is not he who falls. A failure is he who falls and fails to get up. What I can say to the church is, do not ever define your life with the circumstances that are surrounding your life. Always hold on to Christ, and you shall testify also. Amen.